Hi, my name is Rachel Kornack. I'm with Geopivot magazine, and we are talking to 4 young professionals and students today in celebration of National Geography Awareness Week. And this is in partnership with National Geographic Education. Lauren, do you want to say hi?
Yeah, hi. I'm Lauren Herway. I'm in Tucson, Arizona. I'm a graduate student at the University of Arizona.
Great, thanks. And Mike?
Mike Colosimo. I'm in Los Angeles, California, and I run a company called Third Place that organizes and mobilizes community resources.
And you guys are a business partner of Esri, correct?
We are. We're a startup.
Hi, I'm Reed Tomlinson. I'm from Chattanooga, Tennessee. I work in augmented reality, which is the emerging technology that uses GIS data. I also run a nonprofit called EduContribution, which hooks up GIS grad students with nonprofits so their thesis becomes a volunteer opportunity.
Oh, perfect.
Hi, I'm Sam Zolke. I'm calling in from Washington, D.C., and I work for National Geographic Education.
And so what do you do there?
So the Education Department is the official education and outreach arm for the National Geographic Society. So we do a lot of advocating for geography education. Geography Awareness Week is one of the programs that we run to celebrate that. And we also provide a lot of free services to teachers, be it professional development or content.
Okay.
And most of that is delivered through an online platform that is at geoed.org.
So today I wanted to talk about geography is kind of a lost subject in many schools. A lot of people haven't heard of it, or there is no geography department. And we want to bring awareness to how interesting this field is and how many opportunities there are for the next generation of leaders in the country. So I was hoping to talk to each one of you about why you think geography has been important to you, and then how you think it's going to change in the future. So who wants to start?
So I work in augmented reality, which is a really interesting new technology where, in part, you can place new digital data in real physical locations. I think a lot of the mobile technology world is moving toward this, they call it SOLO mode, social location and mobile.
Oh, I've never heard of that.
It's really, it's one of the catchphrases. And it's really about bringing new context and a deeper sense of meaning to individual places. So I think right now when a lot of people think of geography, they think of, looking at globes and old atlases.
Yeah, right.
I think that we're going to use geography for that kind of, localized, deeper context more and more.
I can chat about that as well. I think we work in a similar space where we're bridging online and offline, and we're using geography to tell a story about physical events that are happening. And how we can communicate that and the problems or the opportunities that they're responding to through digital maps and views that are GIS-based.
Just kind of picking up on the same threads is with location and storytelling. Geography, for me personally, is a really important tool for just understanding connections between people and places and time. But for the work that we do in the current day, it's really an important way for young people to learn to analyze the world that's around them. And as the world becomes even more interconnected, it's going to be an important way of understanding and becoming a truly global citizen.
Yeah, I agree. Lauren, did you want to comment?
Yeah, for sure. Basically the same as what everyone else is saying. I think geography is only growing in importance as time goes on because it's just so integrative and it integrates so many different fields, and it's really the best, I think, a little bit biased, I guess, but I think it's the best subject to integrate science and society both. You can't just look at problems with one mindset. You have to put things together, and geography is fantastic at that.
No, I agree. I remember when I was in middle school, they were talking about, in the future, everything is going to be globalized. And I remember learning about it as it was, because it wasn't yet globalized. And it's true, it really has happened that nearly everything we do is connected to people around, different locations, different countries, different contexts, and now it's our job to bring that information together and make decisions about some really pressing problems like, the growing population and access to food and water, and where are we going to put people in cities. So there's all these big questions that are emerging that we're going to have to solve, and we're going to have to do it in new, interesting ways. So what do you guys think about the future of geography? Do you think that it's going to become more important or less important over time?
We we have seen that kind of globalization. You can reach to people all across the world, but now especially as we're carrying around mobile devices, we've got these computers and GPS units in our pockets. I think it can bring us to a point where we can reach people not only across the world, but actually people around us in the same place and time. And I think, again, finding that kind of overlap with the people around you and finding context and stories in the geography of your place and time is only going to become more important. I think we're just scratching the surface of that.
Geography historically has been like, how do we just build maps? And it's been a very kind of academic exercise, or focused particularly on conservation or planning or something that's like traditionally very geographically kind of organized. But I think more and more geography is kind of proliferating into all different parts of our economy and a business. And now, like, if you're a marketer, you have to understand geography. And if you know how to use GIS or you know how to do spatial analysis, you're even more of a powerful asset to your company. So I think academically, and I think in the market, it's really changing, and it's probably at its highest demand that it's ever been. I mean, I've only been around for a short period of time, but I think it's an exciting time for geography.
No, I agree. I feel like it's becoming cooler, if you will. People are talking about it. There's cool technologies coming out where, there's all these interesting apps on your phone, and, you can point your phone and see, what's around you, what's the closest place, how people are commenting on it. If you want to make a decision like where should I go to eat tonight, it's become a geographic question that you use a computer for instead of just using your brain. So I feel like all of the different decisions we're making are becoming more and more connected to geography and technology.
I would agree, and I would say that it's become more tangible than ever before. This is a really exciting time because, like Mike was saying, and like Reed alluded to, geography is something that people have historically thought of as very dusty and books and maps, and now it's cool because everyone who has a smartphone has a geographic tool in their hands, whether or not they realize that they're using this every day through social media, through geolocation scientists, and they don't even know it. And so if we can inspire people to sort of recognize that what they're doing is geography, it instantly becomes this cooler thing that they are already invested in.
Agreed. Lauren, did you want to comment on the future of geography?
For sure, yeah. I mean, definitely, that's all true too. And I think with a lot of the emerging problems, not just technology, and geography has a big role of technology and with like globalizing economy and whatnot, but with emerging environmental problems, geographers are really well suited to address these issues and to work on solving things like climate change, or with stress on resources that we have. This is something that you can't just be thinking in one frame of mind if you're going to solve those problems, and geographers are really well suited to do that.
I think there's one other thing that's interesting. I think like geography and maps are becoming more of like a universal way to communicate. So as data becomes more global, and math has always been like the universal tool to communicate, but I think maps and the way that we show data on a place is very easy to understand no matter what language you speak, no matter what kind of cultural view that you have.
Yeah, we're seeing more of the democratization of that kind of thing. You can take your phone and map your bike ride, map your run. So everybody in a way is a cartographer, and then you get that map, and that's a shareable moment. You can push that out on social media and show it to other people. It's definitely it's a new era of taking it out of this academic pursuit and putting it into applied everyday. And I think people are going to start noticing more and more that you see maps all over the place. It's not just atlases and globes; it's everywhere.
Yeah, I have to say, my degree is in environmental geology and Spanish, and I never even realized that I was a geographer until quite recently. Actually, I was at a conference, and it was a geography themed conference, and I thought I guess I'll go. And everybody I met was just like me, and I thought, how did I not know that I was a geographer? I just had in my mind this, like characterization of somebody with like a beret and, like they're holding this like ancient map. It's like, that's not true. We are geographers. We being this generation, or we're redefining what that means. So I want to throw out the question to you guys. Did you have a moment or some realization in time where you realized that you were a geographer too?
I sort of became a geographer by default. I liked studying everything in school, and geography was a way to still study everything. So it was a way of not deciding. So in that indecision, I became a geographer.
Oh, that's interesting. You can either be like undeclared or a geographer.
It's basically the same thing.
Did anyone else want to comment on that?
She actually took the words right out of my mouth. I remember meeting with an advisor when I was 18 years old, and I met with this advisor, and I was like, I like biology, but I kind of like math, and I like the environment, and I like basically like listed off everything that you could ever possibly study. Like, I think you have to do geography for sure.
That's
funny. What about Mike or Reed? Do you guys have anything to say?
I've become a geographer by default. I think like I studied mechanical engineering, and then I went to business school, and I was far from like building maps and being a geographer. But I got there just sort of logically when we approached the problem that we're trying to solve. Maps were the best way for us to communicate the data and the story that we're trying to tell. And so we very quickly became geographers.
Yeah, I had kind of the same experience, actually. I was doing, I did some GIS and a few GIS projects, even took a few classes, but then I went into augmented reality and realized that that every problem and every data set is inherently geographic. Every problem is a problem in space, and yeah, it just kind of happened.
For anyone out there who is maybe thinking of majoring in geography or going into a career in geography, do you guys have just like one little tidbit of advice to have them join our team? Well, I'll start with my advice, and I think it's similar to some of the things that we've all talked about in our previous interviews. Your career isn't necessarily a destination; it's more a journey, and it's changing all the time, and so. You don't have to make big decisions right now. You can make a series of small decisions and change your minds. Everyone I know that works in this field has had a really interesting, diverse path. I really haven't met anyone who had the same story. I mean, even just looking at us, we all have very different paths and we intersect here at this time. So my advice is keep an open mind and, be willing to change as this industry changes and as the world changes, you need to change too.
Even if you're studying geography, I think you're not bound to anything that you might traditionally think you are as a geography major. So many different things, and it's growing and growing legs in so many different ways that nobody really knows what it's going to be in the next 5 or 10 years. And it's an exciting time. So I think there's lots of opportunities across lots of different businesses, lots of different jobs that involve skills that you learn as a geographer. So.
And one of the reasons that all of you guys are here is because you're defining what the future is going to be. You took it upon yourself to do something interesting and different, and you're part of creating the future.
My little brother is a sophomore in college, and he called me yesterday because he was picking classes and he wanted some advice. And I'll just share the same thing I told him: just do what interests you and let it lead you to wherever it is. And hopefully that's geography, because as we've all mentioned, geography encompasses so much of what's out there. Anyone who solves problems really is a geographer, because like Reed said, all problems happen over some sort of spatial environment. So just be open to it and just go where your interests take you.
Yeah, just continuing to follow what is interesting to you, because the workday is really, really long if you're doing something that is not interesting to you. So, I mean, and geography is something that allows you to explore a lot of different things, and careers in geography, which they allow you to just continue to just exercise your curiosity, and that's what I think any young geographer should do, any old geographer should do, any person.
Any old geographer, I like that. Okay, everybody. Well, thanks for spending some time with us to celebrate National Geography Awareness Week. And we hope for all of our listeners that you'll come join us and that you will become a geographer too. Thanks again. Bye, everybody.